wanted to ask you, how many of you have I have been giving this topic some time ago. Have any of you been on this wisdom talk about destiny and free will? Okay, it was some time ago. So, okay, one person. Wonderful. But given by me. Have you been on wisdom talk that I was giving? Okay, not. Okay, so something else. Good. So I was just wondering, because it was some time, people are changing, so I decided this is interesting topic to share with you. It's a really relevant one. So before I start, I would just utter a few prayers to get empowered to become a divine instrument, so that this divine wisdom can flow through me and reach your hearts. So I will just say a few prayers. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Shcham Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutte Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanyam Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So these prayers are called Mangala Charana, which means that they establish all auspiciousness and remove all the obstacles. They create a bubble of auspiciousness. So now we can, let me actually start tonight's talk. So all of you are aware what is the topic tonight? Is everything destined, or do we have a free will? Interesting topic, huh? It's very essential questions in our life. It looks very simple, but it's very deep. We will a little bit dig into it and try to, discover some deep truths, and we are going to be able to understand how can we gain free will and how much we are destined in our life. So it's very interesting. But before we start, let me ask you. So on the spectrum of having full free will and being fully under the laws of destiny, what would you say? Where are we? Are we on the side of free will, or are we on the side of destiny? What would you say?
I think more free will.
Huh?
More free will.
More free will. Okay, you are leaning on this side?
Yes.
Let us see other ones. Huh? Free will or destiny? What would you say?
Somewhere in between.
Okay, so we are somewhere in between.
In the center.
Center, 50-50. You?
Somewhere in the center.
Also 50-50? Jorn? You can just share what you feel. It's not. I will not give you marks after this. Center? Center is to be sure, huh? Okay, okay.
I'm going to say it's more destiny.
Okay,
When
very
we
nice.
align with the divine.
Okay,
And
very
so
nice.
your soul came through for a purpose
Okay,
that was
so
inspired by the ancestors.
wonderful. So we are going now on the destiny side. So we were like, what? Who else? What would you say?
Free will.
More on free will. You should go in this side. I'm joking.
Both center.
Center. You are in the center. More destiny. You are on a good side. I'm joking, like a spectrum going. What would you say? Okay, in the middle.
I would say destiny chosen by free will.
Ooh. How to be politically correct, huh? We are now getting diplomatic answers. Yeah. We will go. We will go into explanation. But thank you so much.
I would like to say in the center.
Center. Okay. What would you say?
Somewhere in the center.
Center. Okay.
A bit of both, ambivalent.
Okay. Okay.
Is also the same thing.
So also center.
Since I don't have any will, I would go with destiny.
Okay. So we have also. I'm happy that we have both sides present.
Somewhere in the center, Madhya Marg.
Center, huh? Okay. Wonderful. So now for two of you who just came in, you are under spotlights. What would you say? Is our life more destined or we have free will?
I don't understand.
Our life, is it more governed or ruled by the destiny or by our free will? What would you say?
By our
Free will.
free will. By our free will.
Free will. Okay. And your partner, what would she say?
She's my mother.
Mother. She looks so youthful. So this is a big compliment. Wonderful. Okay. So we have different opinions, isn't it? And it's a very interesting discussion. So let me share you one of my stories. I like to share when we speak about this topic. I'm very adventurous person. Before I started my spirituality, I was doing that in extremes, through extreme sports. So I never liked to know what will happen in my life. I like to live in a moment. And spirituality changed that. Still living in a moment, but not in extremes. But I never liked to, how to say, ask somebody to tell me what will I be doing the rest of my life, going on a horoscope, reading of Jyotish or anything else. But in one moment there was some friends of mine told me there was like the biggest expert, Vedic astrology expert in Europe, and he had lineage of, he was really an expert, and then I was just like thinking, okay, why not? Why not to go to see him? And that was like 20, little less than 20 years ago, maybe less, 15 something. And it was not the area of the social media. And we didn't have all of our data online and our profiles and everything that somebody can just Google us and read what we are doing, what we do, who are we, and all of this. So I just came to his door, and he opened up, and he just said me, asked me, what is your date? And I told him, and he told me, I'm not sure that that is your date. Can you tell me, does your father have this disease? Does your mother have this hair color? Do you have one brother? And he just checked, and I said, is it this or is it this? And I said, this is fully correct. And he said, okay, I thought about it. So you are born at a few minutes before in this second. So he immediately found my exact time, and then he started. And then he told me, you had this accident, this moment of your life, this happened to you. you had this many loved ones, how to say, you fell so many times in love, you have this much partnerships, you have this health issues, your father is like this, your mother is like this, your brother is like this, you are like this. Boom, 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 boom. I was just like, oh, who is this guy? Like he really knows all of my life. Like I was living that time, how much? I was 25 or something, and 20 something, yeah. And I could not believe that person who first I saw me could see exact time of birth, and he told me everything about my life. And I was thinking, wow, do I have any free will? Or is everything destined? How could he know, according to the time of my birth, how the planetary systems were? He told me everything what would happen in my life. Now we are going in the corner of the destiny, yeah? And then he asked me, do you want to know what will happen in the future? And I said, I'm not sure. But he told me. And I asked him, is this something that I can influence on? And he told me, this is something so strong that you will not be able to influence. It's like an airplane starting. Please come closer. Don't be shy. We just started. So it's like an airplane. You enter the airplane and your destination is chosen. You will land on the already chosen destination. And I told him, okay, let's see. Later on, I will tell you the second part of the story. But what do you say now? That on the time of the birth, he could tell me all the things that were happening in my 20 plus years of life. It's not that he was reading my mind, that he was reading something. He was just checking my star alignments. So it was very interesting. Very interesting. So what is this that he was reading? What is that called? Huh? Life events, but something that is determined in time of our birth already. Karma. Does everybody know what is karma? Who doesn't know what is karma? Thank you very much. I was waiting for somebody. When you know everything, then you don't need to know anything else. It is said that we always need to be open to learn more. Otherwise, we are in trouble. So, but yeah, it's just a joke. So, karma is a universal law of action and reaction. It's like a law of action and reaction in physics. You hit the wall, wall hits back. That's why your hand hurts. It hits back. If it would not hit back, it would not hurt. So this is the law of action and reaction. So also like we have physical law of action and reaction, such law is there of karma. But it's very interesting. Many people think that karma is just a law that punish us if we were not behaving properly, or reward us if we were behaving properly. But you know what is interesting? Law of karma is a law, universe law, to help us become more, what would you say? Become more what? Mindful. Very, very nice answer. Little more. To help us to become more loving. Beautiful answer. I'm looking for one word that is very close to those. More intelligent. Beautiful. Loving. It's also grateful. It is also, yeah. Looking for very specific word. That's, huh? Awake. In one way. Conscious. Conscious. Beautiful word. Will somebody guess? My English spelling is like K, C, C. English, you say one thing and then you spell it differently. I never like it. C. Caring, very close. Compassionate, to be more compassionate. But all of these things that you have said, it's true. But why? Why would universe want us to become like that? What is the reason? Because somebody wants to force us to do something? Hmm? It's in line with the divine. It's now going a little deeper. Why does it have to? What does this have to do with us? Why would we need to become compassionate? So we are also spirit. We are also spirit. And part of our true nature is that we are compassionate, that we are loving. So our true nature is that we are compassionate, that we are loving, that we are kind, all of these things that you said. So this is our true nature. So when we are acting against our true nature, there is a law, material law, that helps us to help us to come back. There is one beautiful talk that I can speak about one other time, how we came to this world and why certain laws of this world are functioning. And it's very practical that we can understand that it's not that somebody put this on top of us, but it's very logical that all of these laws are created for us, for our benefit, so that we could become again connected to our true nature, which is spirit, which is our soul, which is spiritual, which is compassionate, kind, and loving. And then when we utilize our energy to become something different, then these laws help us to come back on the right track. So now we will be going into, I will not immediately jump into the next point, we will come back to it. But I wanted to say that karma is helping us as a law. It's collecting our things that we were not doing good to help us to correct, and it's collecting also things that we have been doing good to reward us. Because it's not to reward us, but to give us facilities which we want. So the thing is that those who are good, as a good child, parents give them everything. They would give them the whole heritage, they would give them everything. But if they see that they are utilizing that to become more violent, to exploit others, to misuse those resources to do harm to others, proper parents would take out that resources from the child. If he starts intoxication, drugs, and all of these things, they will take it out because they don't want to support him to do bad to him. You understand? So that's why karma, when we are acting against our true nature, is trying to teach us how to come back on the track. And if we are acting on proper way, then it's supporting us and giving us all the resources that we want, helping us to advance. So when we are more in line with our true nature, more in line with this spiritual, and not just spiritual, but also nature of this world, how is it created, so that all living entities can flourish. That it's not just that we are exploiting others in order for us to be happy, but when we are also doing things in a way that we can support others. We can always eat meat, kill animal, take her freedom to satisfy our tongue, but we can also pick a fruit, take a fruit, and it's much different. The same purpose, to feed our belly, to like maybe quench our thirst or hunger, so, but the strategy is different. If we make violent actions, that we are going to take out freedom from others, that we are not going to be compassionate, that we are going to be selfish, then we will not get good karma. We will get reaction so that we learn how it is when somebody takes life from us. when somebody's behaving like that to us, because we don't get it. That's why people are doing things unconsciously, And so that it works like that. And one very interesting thing is that good karma doesn't neutralize the bad karma. It's two separate bank accounts. Two separate bank accounts. Very interesting. So all the good things that you are doing according to your nature, you get support. All the things that you are doing against your true nature, not being compassionate, you are getting reactions, and you are getting, karmic reactions that would teach you. So karma is educational, helping us to grow. This is explained very basically. Could you understand, like principle-wise, to understand what is the law? So then the question is, why bad things happen to good people? Past karma, yes, because there is multiple lives. It's not just one life. And this was the missing part that I could not connect with some spiritual teachings when I was in the West, some spiritual traditions. Because they explain that what you do in this one life, for the eternity you will get reaction. So if you are born in a bad family, in the bad ghetto, associated with the bad influence, the rest of life you will be living in a hell. Where is their compassion from the Supreme? And then somebody is born in a very pious family, in very nice circumstances, with a golden spoon in the mouth, and he will be all his destiny in the heaven. So the point is that that person was born in such kind of environment, with such kind of influences due to his desires from the past life, and due to his karma from the past life. And due to what was happening in this life, it will create a future life. Could you follow? But then how is there any place for the free will? All of... Hmm? Can you repeat?
I feel that way.
Okay. So my question is, how could that astrologer know what was happening in my 20 years of life? I could do some good deeds, but he would anyway guess what was happening. Interesting question, huh? Is everything already destined? If, there is a big war and thousands of people die, is it their choice or is it destined? Could they influence it? What's the situation there? Because according to the law of karma, they would all die. And it's very interesting. In your chart, you can see when is your time of death. So where is there free will? Do we have a free will? Very interesting. Neuroscience says that we don't. Because all the different factors influence our way of decision. Pattern, subconscious mind, all the things that we are carrying from our childhood, from the past lives. They are there inside of us. And, when somebody tells us something and we immediately feel, why have you hurt me? And all of these things. And it can be just some simple thing, you have not done that well. No big thing. And we can connect to the childhood trauma when our parents were telling us, you were not good, you were behaving like this and that. And all of these triggers, all of this thing under the carpet just goes out. All the bulbs start, sirens start going on, and then we just start reacting. How can you tell me that? And it becomes like a whole thing out of nothing. I'm just saying about trauma thing, but also in a nice thing. There is let's say I am a man and there is a nice girl there. And she crosses by, and do I choose that I immediately am attracted to that or not? Or is it already wired inside? It's not wired. So I have a choice. Choice to be attracted or choice to choose should I look or not? Okay, that's interesting, yeah? Yeah, we can go deeper into this. I'm just giving some random examples, yeah. But, Vedic scriptures tell us after all of this, that they gave us Vedic astrology and show us that there is karma and all of these things. You know what is their conclusion about free will? Hmm?
Either I could just gain knowledge from this session.
Mhm.
So every time of my life, I have two, three options. The best option is my free will. But there are certain things which are predestined that I cannot control. But I do have a choice to choose the best option. That's what we call free will.
Okay. So my question to you would be, if you have a nature that you are more wired to seek spirituality and seek knowledge, you would be already predestined to choose to come on this lecture.
Be attracted towards different material things also. So I
Okay.
do have a choice that
Okay.
should I take the path which is spiritually inclined or do I go to my material things.
Okay.
So every moment of my life I do have a choice. That's what we call free will of this present birth. But
Okay.
yes, that's what you were telling. It was all your astrological chart where you were born. That's why he was able to predict what you were doing at that particular point of time, because there were a lot of karmas that you did in your previous lifetimes. That's why you were born at a particular point of place and time,
Yeah.
which decided what you would be doing at that point of time. And once you enter into spirituality, you understand more of free will in detail.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Beautiful answer. We will go a little deeper into it to unpack some of those things. So the thing is that Vedic scriptures, they tell us that do we have a free will or everything is destined? What do you think what they say tell us?
I think the Vedic structure says that it's all predestined.
Okay. You think?
Destined.
Destined? What would the others say? Okay, I will not ask because this is like Vedic scholars are needed here. But Vedic teachings, like the Vedic wisdom, tells us that we have free will, that we have complete free will. As our true nature is spirit, as spirit beings, we have free will, absolute free will. But what happens is that by misusing that free will, acting against our true nature, being selfish, being, trying to exploit others, we accumulate reactions that bind us in this world to experience certain educational lectures so that we can grow. Or due to being good, having some desires, try to do them, to fulfill them and see, can that really make us happy? Because also trying to get happiness in material world is also not part of our true nature. So we get realizations that material things cannot make us truly happy. So the point is that as spirit, we have a free will. But by misusing that free will through the lifetimes, we have certain karma that we need to, experience. So how it looks like? Let me give you one very interesting comparison. It's like when you have a regisseur and he makes script of the drama, and there is different actors on the stage acting, each one of them their own role of that drama. So that role would be a karma of that person that he needs to experience in this life. And then we, as one of the characters on that stage, we also have our own script that goes in certain way. So all of this is intertwined. So if we are not aware what is happening around us, we are just going to act and react how things are coming to us, which will already be destined, what will happen. What will somebody tell us? What will happen in our life? What will do this? Because there is different instruments of our karma. But when we become conscious that this is a drama, all of these things are going to happen, but I can react differently. Do you get me? In that moment, we are not going to react. We are going to proactively choose what we want to do. But then another thing very interesting is there. Why do some people have more free will and some less? Can you follow me? The line of thought. Why would some people have more free will and some less? Some people live like animals. They just follow their urges, try to survive. They don't have, they're just trying to survive to ensure the basic, needs, like a food, shelter. There is so much inside of their subconscious mind that influences their every action and reaction that it's hard for them to choose because it's so strong, like animals. When there is a, have you ever seen cats when they get into this, how do you say that in English? Breeding period. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever, anybody of you seen a cat or some animal when they come in their breeding period? Mating period. Breeding. Have you seen that? They are like crazy. My what is he on English? Like my uncle. So he had his favorite cat, and he put it in a basement because it had this period, like she wanted to mate with others, and closed her. Like she scratched all the walls. Like it was like crazy, like somebody was torturing her inside. It was so strong that like she wanted to break out free, and other cats from outside, they were scratching the windows. So it becomes so strong that some people cannot resist that. It's like animalistic tendencies, urges. But some people don't. Some people are very calm, very rational, very conscious. Like they can, when somebody tells them something, they don't immediately react, like try to fight. They just process it, take it calmly, and then say something what is proper, what would calm the situation and help resolve. So what would be the difference? They learn the lessons?
Answer for this would be that they have done their sadhana. Sadhana is the practice of meditation in their previous lifetimes, and the outcome has come in this lifetime. That's why they're very calm and peaceful. And now we are trying to inculcate those practices in this current life, and we are trying to imbibe those things: calmness, peace, intelligence. That's a logical explanation that why some people are calm and some are very aggressive.
So you're saying that previous actions in previous life have influenced how they are behaving in this life. Yeah, this is what we were speaking before, how this life is combination of previous lives. But there is something very interesting. It is explained that karma, influence of free will and karma, it's under the law, one specific law, that is called the influence of the modes of material nature. There is different energies, three distinct different energies that are influencing our life, that are explained in the Vedic scriptures, especially in Bhagavad Gita, how they influence our life. And they are very much connected to our karma and to our action that we create, because karma means action. And they imprison us, our karma imprison us according to these energies to different levels of prisons. Like when somebody is bad, he was acting very violently. Maybe he was a serial killer, and he was going around and just killing, maybe raping woman or killing children or whatever, So the punishment for that person would be very severe, isn't it? If somebody just stole a chewing gum in the store, like it would not be the same punishment. Like he would just need to, like tell him, maybe scare him a little bit, you will get in jail, like or something like that. So there is different reactions according to the severity of our, like acting against our true nature, what we said. Because when we act according to our true nature, which is compassion, kind, loving, then we get all the good karma. When we act against that nature, being selfish, hurting others, then we get karmic reactions which is going to teach us how to become better. So material energy through the institution of karma puts us in these different prisons, like we have in a normal world. We are just copy-pasting some divine laws. So we have like a prison when somebody cannot exit the country. One of my friends that we know, we were going to one trip outside of Croatia, and they stopped him on the border because he didn't pay some bills. He was, like he didn't pay some bills that were overdue, so, like they didn't allow him to go out of the country because they could see. So he was, let's say, imprisoned to stay in the country. Some people who have done some mild crimes, they have been stopped of being just in their house. They get this GPS tracking system, and they cannot exit certain area. So they're like more imprisoned, like in a certain part of the state. Some people get into the prison which is very mild. They can associate with others, they can have a TV, they can get visitors, they can do, it's very nice life, like, but, so that's kind of prison for their kind of crime. Some go in more stricter jail, where they are just in one small jail with maybe one or two roommates, no TV, no big luxuries, just a bed or something like that. And somebody who was like that serial killer who has done a lot of violence and crime, they imprison him. They sometimes even put him in this crazy shirt, like so that he doesn't do some harm to himself or anybody else, and they put him in a solitary cell. So if they do that, how much free will he has? Not much, isn't it? And somebody who is just in his country, he can do many other things. He can go out, fulfill his desire. So it depends upon the severity of how we were acting against our true nature, how astray we went and how much we misused our free will, so much freedom we get. You understand? So that's why some people have a lot of free will. They can choose. They can come and say, okay, what would be the best for my life? Maybe the best would be that I go here and do this. Somebody will just say, no, I want to go get drunk tonight and go with that girl and do this and do that. That urge would be so strong, even though that's not the best for him. Let's make a simple thing. You want to wake up early and do some sadhana, some meditation or something, and then you cannot. Like you are pulled down because, like you cannot wake up, you are just postponing the alarm clock or different things. You didn't develop the habits because those influences of energies, they are prevailing our life according to that karma that we have. And we can change that.
Lifetime or the previous lifetime?
It's all mixed up. So some karma we cannot change. That's called prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is the one that we get by our birth. Certain kind of body. Like now we are trying to change, if we are male, to change the body in a female or female to man or these different things, but still you got certain kind of body, like that has certain characteristic. You get certain intelligence, certain emotional intelligence, certain, like certain things you get that is very hard to influence. You can stretch it a little bit, but according to the modern psychology and science, you cannot go over certain limits with your intelligence, with certain things, because it's how your brain is wired, which nature you got. You understand? You can stretch certain things, but not too much. If your body is very, how to say, anyway, you get certain, that's called prarabdha karma, certain family, certain this, certain that. But there is again certain karma that can be changed, that can be influenced. And there is certain karma that we create now, and that will manifest in future. Some karma that we already created, and that's still didn't manifest it. So karma is very, very interesting, and I don't want to go now into all of these scientific details, but it's very interesting. I just want to speak about the basic principles to understand things. So I was speaking before something before you asked that question. What was that? Can you get me back on track? Yeah, I was giving different examples about waking up and like doing these different things, and I was saying that there is these different energies that are influencing our life. Do you know what are those modes of material nature? Who have heard already about them? They're very famous. Three modes, three gunas: rajas, tamas, and sattva. So what is translation of tamas? Inertia, ignorance, we can say, like of darkness. So there is different qualities, but translation, let's say it's ignorance. Yeah. So more those are all different qualities. How to say? Translation of the rajas would be activity, action. So we translate it in a passion. Translation of sattva would be balance, peace, pureness, peacefulness. So its translation is goodness. So all of these different qualities are there. So we have ignorance, passion, and goodness. So you can see now all of this. You can see me, you can see all of these different colors behind me. How many primary colors are there? Sorry, I was showing with the finger. How to manipulate you. Sorry. But all of us know that. Those are red, red, RGB. But there is also VML, like that is originally used for, yeah, yellow, yeah, anyway. So, but there is three colors that our eyes perceive. And according to that, like when you see the TV, also, it's all about three colors. The whole picture is created by the three colors. The mixture of those three colors gives the whole experience. So if you have more color of the TV of red and maybe black, it may be more of the horror movie, more of the ignorance, let's say. If you have more of the color of like action, shooting, lights and all of this, that would be more passion, isn't it? If you have more of the colors of green, blue, nice scenarios of nature, it would be more of the mode of goodness. So also how we experience this life is just creation of those three modes, those three like energies that are creating our everyday life situation. So according of the dominance of the mode of goodness, we are going to be more peaceful, we will have more free choice, we are going to be more thoughtful. According to how much present is the mode of passion, we are going to be very passionate to do things, create things, enjoy, create. According to the mode of ignorance, we are going to be very depressive or lazy or, indulge in different intoxications or bad habits. So it depends how much we are influenced by those modes. And then according to our free will, we can shift the channel a little bit. Shift maybe a little bit to some other program or adjust the brightness or different colors. So, but how do you do that? Now practically. how can we gain? Because we all understand that having more freedom would make our life better. We could choose what is best for us. We could choose what is good, how we can be happy. Because we think that modern world is telling us today that if you are in the mode of passion, you will be happy, you will live everything. But what happens when you are in the mode of passion? You just fell in love with somebody, and what happens after? After a few months, you get to know what that person is. Because when you fell in love, you don't know anything. You are just like in heroin mood, like you're just like, like. And then after a few months, you see, oh, oops, this is nothing what I was imagining that person is. You come in reality. So if you would in the mode of goodness, you could see that. And you could choose wisely. What would be the best person to invest my love in? Like not just end up in a bar, like hanging out and drinking and falling in love, and then, like after a few months waking up with somebody who may be your biggest enemy in life, Happens. Happens. So, but world is teaching us, be in passion, create, enjoy, like don't care about others, like or whatever. But then reactions come. And reactions are not so good usually. When we are a lot in the passion, usually when we eat very sweet, very tasty, usually we get certain disease, like or some other things, because that's not good for us. Could you follow? And when we are doing things in ignorance, for sure we are going to suffer, because intoxications, depression, all of this laziness, it will not produce many good things. So going more in the mode of goodness brings us more freedom, because we are then more in aligned with our true nature that can help us to be more happy. Because more according to our true nature helps us to experience what we really want. Like when you take the fish out of the water, you can try to give her nice blanket, nice car, you can try to do whatever, but like, and maybe she will feel a little better if that blanket it's a little wet or something. But like until you put it back in the water, it will not be fully happy. And this is what happens in our life. We can try to enjoy different material things, have a nice mobile phone, nice this, nice that, but it's very flickering, it's very temporary. That's why we are changing all the time. New mobile phones, new cars, new girlfriends, new boyfriends, new this, new that, because we are never satisfied. That cannot fulfill us deeply inside. So more thoughtful, more conscious, more in the mode of goodness, more free will we have, more better choices we can do. So all the yoga practices, all the spiritual practices teach us that through our sadhana, through our meditation, through our yoga practice, we can come more in the mode of goodness. In my life, I was very passionate. I was doing extreme sports, very crazy things, and very passionate, But then when I started to do yoga, it helped me to calm down. It helped me to go more in the mode of goodness, where I could start to deeply ponder upon the sacred scriptures, study the Vedas, practice my sadhana, which totally changed the trajectory of my life. And then what happened, especially, I will come later to that, through the spiritual practices, all the things that astrologer told me that will happen changed. In that moment, when we utilize our free will in a conscious way, and especially with the spiritual practices, it can completely change our karma. Even with just material rituals or certain activities, we can influence our karma. But with spiritual practices, we can completely change our karma. Because certain things that astrologer said, he told me, you cannot even change this. But then, because I started to practice my spiritual life, I started to reconnect with my true nature and with the Supreme Lord, even those things changed. And he told me, not, for sure not. Because it's just, and he was expert, but he was expert in material science, not in spiritual science. So, which is a totally different category. You can have like Vedic scholars who are expert in certain materialistic sciences, like Vedic astrology, like Ayurveda, like even some Dharma Shastras, like different, like Karma Kanda. They are expert in that, but they don't know spirituality, and they don't understand the laws of spirituality, because they are focusing on this. Like you have scientists, they can be expert in the computers and all of these things, but they may not know what is our true nature and what is our purpose of life. So that's very interesting. And that's another thing that we will add on the end. But what do you say? Could you follow what I was saying? Do you agree? Is there any question? Some disagreement? Some correction? Huh? Okay. Wonderful. So the point is that we try to go in that direction of having more free will, bringing our life more in the mode of goodness. And bringing our life more in the mode of goodness is jumping board to the transcendence. So it's like a stepping stone going to the spirituality. Because when you are more thoughtful, more conscious, more calm, you will be naturally more inclined to think about life, to be more introspective, to read the scriptures, to try to understand, to practice sadhana, practice spirituality. You will be much more inclined than just running around, creating businesses, careers, enjoying, and all of these things. But that doesn't mean that person will become spiritual. It's just prerequisite. It's just something that is beneficial for the person to start inquiring about that. So it doesn't mean that everybody who is in the mode of goodness becomes spiritualists, transcendentalists. They pursue self-realization. It's their free choice, but it's a jumping board that can help us to go in that direction. And then when we go in that direction, and when we start practicing deep spiritual life, then things start to change. Because the whole material existence was there because we wanted to enjoy this life, and we wanted to act independently of the Supreme. We came into this material world because we wanted to enjoy and act separately from the Supreme Lord. And He created the whole material universe just for us, because we had that desire, because we have that free will, and we wanted to misuse it. Not misuse it, but use it in a way to enjoy separately, be separate from Him. So if we were in a spiritual world, it would be impossible for us to totally separately do that. Because if you know that your father is a multimillionaire and everything, how can you, act as a, or not your father, but that you know that there is a multimillionaire there, you cannot change that person, because he's there, and you have beautiful relationship, and you have loving relationship because you are his son. You have all the heritage. You can enjoy all of those facilities. You have everything, but still you are not that person. So then the father, who is multimillionaire, creates a realm and helps us to forget that he is our father, so that we can totally utilize that free will in a way that we think that we are God. And that's very interesting, because that's one of the last problems that we face when we seek spiritual realization. On the last steps, we need to give up that idea that we are the Supreme Lord, because we need to give up that false ego. Many spiritualists go in that direction, and they say, yeah, we are all God, because that really nourishes our ego. Oh yeah, I want to be God. I want to enjoy. I want to be the best. I want that everybody turns around me, because due to that desire we came here. But that can be like a hurdle, like a problem, last thing that we need to overcome before we get to that level of transcendence, that we develop a relationship with the Supreme Lord. We will not go in that direction now, but due to that free will, going in that direction of being entangled in this world and misusing our free will, we have created all of this. It's our creation. It's our creation, and we are completely responsible for that. And because when we decide, so now I went on a little detour, and I just wanted to say this, because when we decide that we want to come back to our true nature in our relationship with the Supreme Lord, then all of these material laws, karma, modes, they don't have any more substance. They don't need to exist. They don't need to influence us because we are in connection with our true nature, because we are in connection with the Supreme Lord. So then the things start completely changing. It's like when you are on that, when I was saying that that astrologer told me when you have a strong karmic thing that needs to manifest, it's like boarding a plane which already has the destination. But what happens if you are flying over America and then the president of America says, no, bring that plane down, otherwise we are going to destroy it? Plane will go down immediately. It will not go to its ultimate destination. Or if somebody like the director of that company says to the what is the pilot? Thank you, pilot. If he calls pilot and says no, land instead of America, land in Germany, he will immediately do that. So when there is a higher influence of the divinity in our life, when we surrender to that Supreme Lord, all of these other laws stop to exist because it's under influence of the Supreme Lord. So that's how it happens. But until we are under our own impressions, until we are under our own thinking that we are the controllers, that we are the enjoyers, until we are trying to act as small gods, then we are creating our destiny alone. And more we are going astray of our true nature, more problems there will be. More we are in line with our true nature, there will be more benefits and more happiness. So in that's very powerful thing, because when we start practicing spirituality, prerequisite in many cases is to come easily to the mode of goodness, so that we can go deeper into the meditation, that we can study the scriptures more deeply, that we can choose the right options in our life. But then when we start practicing those things, spirituality, then everything starts to change. But very interesting, now be afraid. It's not only that our bad karma gets out of the window, also our good karma. So transcendentalists, they are not interested in bad karma or good karma. Materialists usually pray to God, oh, please give me a good house, give me a good woman, good wife, or give me a good job, let my career prosper. Transcendentalists are not praying for that. Transcendentalists are praying, please help me come back to you. Please remove all the obstacles from my life that are holding me back. That can be a very happy life, in material happy life. Transcendentalists are not interested in that. They are interested going back to their true nature, connecting with their true nature and to their true inhabitants of the spiritual world, because they know that even that happy material life has the side effects of suffering, that sooner or later our loved ones will leave us, that sooner or later our job, there will be problems, that we are going to face like losses, sooner or later our health will go down, sooner or later somebody will die. So they know that this material life is temporary. As that fish, we can try to satisfy it by giving her a cocktail or a blanket or something, but it will not be fully satisfied until it goes to its true nature, until its true destination of the spiritual world. So transcendentalists want that. And that's why they are not concerned about good karma or bad karma. They are just concerned about how to get out of this world. And through some processes of spiritual practices, they can go in very extreme ways, like through Hatha Yoga or like this Dhyana Yoga. They go to the caves, they go to the mountains. Before Rishikesh didn't look like this. Tapovan, the place, this was a forest of austerities, of penances. They gave up everything. They would just come here in the caves and they would just do very strict austerities to go out of this world. through Bhakti Yoga, we don't need to do such kind of things. Through Bhakti Yoga, you can still have your career, you can still have your family, but you change the mindset. You are not anymore doing things in order to satisfy oneself, to satisfy one's selfish desires, to exploit others, but you are trying to serve others. You are trying to use all these things to please the Supreme Lord. You are trying to help your children to become transcendentalists. You are doing your job in order to influence others, to help them in their spiritual journey. So you are changing your consciousness. So in Bhakti, you don't need to renounce things. In some other process like jnana and ashtanga and all of this, you need to renounce everything. Unless you renounce, you cannot continue on a self-realization path. I'm not criticizing. I practice hatha yoga myself for the good health, peace of mind. But as a process of self-realization, you need to go in that direction, and we need to be aware of that. That's why I practice for myself bhakti, for the self-realization. And I practice hatha for a good health, peace of mind, and other things. And some people are practicing hatha for that self-realization, and they are like very good yogis. But we need to understand what it requires to achieve the self-realization. So it's a process of liberating us, process of gaining true free will, that we are not influenced anymore by any material desires. Okay, was this interesting? Was it practical? What would you say now? Are things, do we have a free will or everything is destined? The first question. Huh? Still in the center, but in a way, like he was saying diplomatically, destined by using our free will. So we have a free will, and the point is that we just try to get more of our free will by acting more in the mode of goodness. And being more in the mode of goodness, trying to practice our spiritual life to completely get rid of all of these influences. Because even if we cannot be all the time just in the mode of goodness, life will throw us in different ways of suffering due to physical health, due to need to, like there is a war. And so you will say, oh, no, I'm in a mode of goodness, and people are shooting, killing your children, whatever, like coronavirus is there, or whatever, like material life will move in such a way that it will influence us. So only when we come to the level of transcendence, we can be fully peaceful and fully happy. So that's why we are here in this holy place where we can practice spirituality. So it's good to utilize that in a proper way. Okay, is there any questions, thoughts, corrections? Yes, if you have questions, so we can use mic because we want to be able to record. So Mahima, dear friend, and helping us with the Bhakti Yoga Rishikesh is going to help you with the mic.
Just to elaborate on what you said, let me know if I'm on the right track. When this war of Mahabharata was about to happen, Duryodhan called the best of the astrologers to just predict what would happen in the war. And the astrologers told him that he has Raj Yoga in his Kundli. Raj Yoga would mean that he would be the king. And there is no way he would lose this war. And once they went into the middle of the war, half of his army was dead. Then they again called those astrologers and they asked him that you were saying that we would win and then now we are losing. Then the astrologers told Duryodhan that someone is with Arjuna who is beyond time and death, who is beyond place and earth. And if Krishna is with you, he can change your entire astrological charts. So is this the right path that we are aiming, that we need to have Krishna with us and then we can practice our free will and nothing would be predestined?
Yeah, so this is what I was saying before, because the thing is that Duryodhana, he was having much stronger army on his side. He had so let me just, for those of you who have not read Mahabharata, Mahabharata is one amazing book that is 10 times bigger than Iliad and Odyssey together. It explains about one very beautiful historical happening when Krishna, personally as the Supreme Lord, descended to this world and has exhibited his divine pastimes. So Mahabharata explains about all of these things that were happening, and then, like through the whole Mahabharata, there is many different dramas and things happening, and then it goes in such a way that the biggest war on the planet Earth, where there is millions and millions of people on the battlefield, just starting to get, start the battle, and in all of that, Arjuna, the main character, who is one main warrior, he falls down. Not falls down, he crashes down emotionally. He sees his relatives on the other side of the army. He sees the devastation that is going to happen. And he loses his courage, even though he's the most courageous one, And then he turns to Krishna, who was his chariot driver. Can you imagine this? Supreme Lord who was driving the chariot of his devotee. Because the Supreme Lord is not there to, tell us what should we do, how should we do, to judge us, are we going to go to hell or heaven or things like that. He's there to help us. And he becomes servant of the persons who love him. Also like a father, he starts serving his son. So he was serving Arjuna. And he was driving a chariot of Arjuna. So Arjuna was on the side of Pandavas, of Yadavas, and they were, by their strength, having much smaller military strength than Duryodhana, because all the main generals like Bhishma, and I will not name all of them. Yes, all of them, they were on the other side due to the will of providence. So, and even though they were stronger, on the end, Pandavas won, because when they were choosing, there was one incident that Duryodhana, who was evil person, so he manipulated things to exploit Pandavas, who were holy persons, and he had a choice. He approached Krishna, because Krishna had, he was also in that role as a king. He had a vast army of his own, and he approached him, and Krishna said, because Duryodhana and Arjuna approached him together in the same moment while he was sleeping. And then Duryodhana wanted his army, and Arjuna wanted Krishna, because Krishna said, you can either choose me, and I will not fight, or you can choose my vast army. And Duryodhana, as an evil character, he said, of course, I want to choose the army. And Arjuna was totally happy that Krishna is on his side, because he knew that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and having Krishna on his side, all the auspiciousness will come, because he was a saintly person. So even Duryodhana had everything. He had even Krishna's army. He was destined to win. Because Arjuna took shelter in the Supreme Lord, he won on the end. Because the will of the Supreme Lord was that the holy persons would be on the throne. They should continue ruling, not the evil persons who were more powerful. So what I was saying before is that even due to our karma, we can have different resources or different inclinations, or trajectory of our life should go in certain direction by the influence of the Supreme Lord if we surrender to him. Because Arjuna surrendered. Arjuna also had his own desires. He wanted to do something independently. But what he has done, he has approached Krishna and asked for his guidance. And Krishna told him everything, and he said on the end, you do whatever you want, I told you everything. And Arjuna surrendered. And when Arjuna surrendered, he has left his control, left all of his desires, and just surrendered to the will of the Supreme. And then the Supreme Lord could use him as an instrument to make a divine plan, to change everything. So in spiritual life, when we practice our sadhana, our spiritual practices, and we understand who that Supreme Lord is, and we understand how amazing he is, how compassionate, how loving, how caring. Can you imagine that you have a friend who is the most powerful personality in the world? He has all the influence. can do whatever he wants. He knows what is the best for you. He knows past, present, and future. And he loves you and cares about you more than you can ever imagine. If you had such a person in your life, the most powerful personality, knowing what is best for you and cares and loves you as much as you can ever imagine, why would we not allow him to guide us? And we can think why bad things are happening in our life, isn't it? If we have such a person in our life. But the point is that he gives us complete free will. And due to us misusing that free will, that we want to act independently from him, he doesn't intrude because he loves us. And love means that he doesn't force us. He fulfills our desires, but doesn't force us to take shelter of him. But more we develop that relationship and more we understand that part, more surrender we can do and allow him to guide us. We understand we are stupid. We have so many bad tendencies. We don't know what is best for us. And who are we to make such a big change in our life, you know? And you understand what it means to become liberated. You know, like when you go into spiritual science, you become terrified. I will never do that in my life. It's impossible. But with the help of the Supreme Lord, we can do it like this, if we surrender. So what Arjuna has done, he surrendered. And then what happened? Trajectory of his life changed. This is what happened in my life. I became a monk. I started to practice, spiritual practices, and I have gave up my material desires. Later on, I got married with my wife Taruni. I developed 2 businesses, run so many things, but I didn't do that for my personal sense gratification. I have done all of that to please others, to serve others, as a practice of my Bhakti yoga, as to please Supreme Lord. And through those activities, trying to please the Supreme Lord, he changed the trajectory of my life and changed those things that astrologer said that it would not be able to happen. So this is the power of spiritual practice. Very interesting. So to explain and unpack your question, why that happened to Arjuna. So because he surrendered. And then Krishna used him as an instrument to do what is the best for everyone.
Very beautiful answer by you. The word surrender itself is very deep, and this is the most exact explanation of through this incident, that he surrendered and in this, his destiny changed. So we can also aim for material success with the base of spirituality, correct? That's what you did.
Yes, so the point of Bhakti, so there is, okay, so this is another wisdom talk. We can go deeply into it, but I will just summarize it in a nutshell. As you know, there is 4 paths of yoga, 4 paths of self-realization explained in Vedic system. Karma, Jnana, Dhyana or Ashtanga Hatha Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. 2 of them are socially exclusive, 2 of them are socially inclusive. Socially exclusive paths for self-realization, we are speaking about self-realization, are Jnana and Dhyana. So in order to achieve self-realization for them, you need to renounce this world. You need to give up everything. That's why yogis were meditating in caves. They were not meditating in luxury villas. That came on later as Kali Yuga progressed or materialism progressed. They wanted to give some benefits of yoga to the masses. Ashtanga yoga started for the military people. When that yoga teacher came to the kingdom and king asked him, please train my soldiers. So he totally adapted yoga to train the soldiers. And that's why in the West, when we want to have a healthy body, we go and train such kind of yogas, you know. And the point is that it's not bad. It's very good for the health. It's very good for those things. But in order to reach self-realization, you need to go in the path of renunciation. But in the processes of karma and bhakti, you don't need. You can socially include things, but you change your attitude. You change what do you want to do with your practices. You don't want to earn more money, to be more rich, to enjoy more. You want to work in such a way that you want to please the Supreme Lord by that. And through that, please other living entities also, to help them in their spiritual advancement, and that you have enough time for your spiritual practice. So that it's not like that you say, oh, I'm just trying to work for the Lord. That's part of karma yoga, but still you need to do your own sadhana and spiritual practice so that you can connect and you can have that consciousness of doing things for the Supreme Lord. So you can be part of this world, you can be in this world, but not be part of this world through the process of bhakti and through the process of karma. It's a deep discussion. I usually give a talk also on that, on different paths, and practically how all of them are beautiful, all of them are scientific, and how different paths, what are the different techniques that you need to use in order to reach perfection. So it's a very interesting thing. That's why I decided to practice bhakti, because I didn't want to just renounce everything. I wanted to utilize everything that God has given me to please Him with that and to help others. So, but I still do hatha yoga for my physical body and mental peace. Okay? Last question, or we are going to stop? Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for coming tonight. If you have something also, you can personally approach me. You can ask whatever. I'm happy to serve you. I got many jewels through my past experiences, learning from many teachers, and I'm happy to share, because when you get some beautiful things, you know how much impact it had on your life. So you're very welcome. I'm very happy to share those. And before you go home, we have prepared a dinner with the help of MVT Guesthouse. So you are welcome to stay, to join, connect even more, and please join us for other programs. We have Saturday Kirtans, and you can find more about our programs on the table there. You can scan the QR code and join. And there are many more things is happening around. So also please approach me or my wife Taruni or Mahima, Mahatma. They will be happy to share and assist. Thanks to Mahima for assisting with the mic, and Mahatma who was on the computer. He was doing all of these technical things because you know what we are doing? We are testing actually live streaming so that we can publish things more quickly. Because until now we were recording that, and then editing of that is already in the pipeline for 2-3 months. So people are asking, when is that going to be out? When is this going to be out? Like Bibiana is already now, but now with the live streaming, everything will be out immediately. So he is doing a big seva with that. So thank you, Mahatma. And yeah, Yamuna is also there on the table. She's always ready to answer any questions. So you're welcome to ask them anything. Thank you so much. So we are going to stop here. And thank you. Thank you for coming. It's beautiful to talk about these things together, isn't it? It's beautiful to talk about such kind of things together, because this is a satsang. It's like we practice spirituality and go deeper together. So thank you for joining this wonderful occasion. Hare Krishna.